Hello, guys, and welcome to the first episode of the Demerol Errol sessions. And this is the first episode of the Ozone sessions of the Demerol Errol sessions. And this is going to be the first ever episode of our new show in the Demerol Errol Media podcast called Unscrew, Push Through, and Review, where we will be reviewing the newest albums that have been coming out from new artists. And this week we are going to be reviewing Don Toliver's newest album, Life of a Don. So let's get straight into it. So Don Toliver has been a newer person on my radar. If I'm being honest, I haven't really listened to him that much. I started listening to him about 2 to 3 months ago when he released his new single Drugs and Hella Melodies, which is also on this song. And I would say that I enjoyed that pretty much. But getting into our first part of the album. So the first song is Escape, which I actually think is Don's best solo work throughout this project. And there's some typical Don Toliver vocals, but I honestly think it's a great way to get me hooked into the album. I actually enjoyed the song, and as I said, throughout the album, there were some bad parts, some good parts, but Don Toliver by himself, I would argue that this is his best work throughout the album. And, there was some great production, which we will end up to see is pretty characteristic throughout this album. There was definitely, production-wise, top album, but, so great start. And then we had 5x or 5 times, in the song he says it's 5 times, and 5 times is the negative point of the album. In my opinion, this song kind of characterizes the bad part of this album, and it is just so unbelievably repetitive, so unbelievably boring in my opinion. And look, mad respect to Don, he's a younger guy, he's trying to grow up, but I did not like this song, if I'm being really honest. If you're into repetitive rap where there's not really much into it, but it's a pretty cool song to listen to, I guess you can chill to it, but my opinion, it was a little bit kind of characterized the worst. And then we went into Flocky featuring Travis Scott, and in my opinion, when we kind of see Don Toliver as some sort of heir to Travis Scott's kingdom or empire, and in Flocky and also in You, which we will get to, I feel like Don kind of showed that he has a little bit of more work to do before we can see him as a Travis Scott type guy. I feel like Travis Scott kind of showed that he was a little bit better in the aspects of hooking me in, the aspects of lyrics, and the aspects of even vocals, in my opinion. Even if Don Toliver is known for his vocals, I actually liked that song a little bit more. I honestly think that Travis's vocals were a little bit more better, and in both projects, Travis kind of showed that he is a little bit way above. He's a little bit above to Don, and Then we move on to not really in order here, but we're moving on to Outer Space, which is one song that I really had a lot of notes about. Honestly, Outer Space had some of the greatest production throughout this album. I really liked the production. The beat was pretty good. And, the beat change was very subtle, very smooth. I enjoyed that too. And Baby Keem's first verse was pretty mediocre in my opinion. Probably better than anything that Don Toliver made throughout the project. But Baby Keem's second verse was, in my opinion, very, very good. And this song is not as repetitive as the rest of the album kind of is. And in my opinion, Outer Space is probably the best track on this album. And moving on. So, and Smoke is the next song that I would like to make some notes on. The beginning kind of showed the same repetition that I've highlighted so many times that I said that I don't really enjoy. And kind of the chorus as well. The lyrics throughout are okay. I mean, there's nothing super unbelievable, super phenomenal, something super extraordinary compared to what Don regularly puts out. And the features, in my opinion, were pretty mid. HVN was pretty decent on this song. Nothing really extra. In Crossfaded, in my opinion, this was one of the better songs of the album. Don Toliver showcased some of his best flow in this song. And once again, really good production. And you know what? In my opinion, Don should probably stick to the style that he showcased in the song Crossfaded. It was probably one of the best songs. Again, maybe maybe not as good as Outer Space, but one of the good songs in the album. And then Bogus, which in my opinion is one of the better solo works that he has done in this album. I mean, nothing like super unbelievable, super extraordinary, super out of the norm, but there was some decent flow in the second verse, and once again, great production. And you know what? Throughout this album, we were seeing something that's sort of like anti-Polo-G, where I feel like Don Toliver was given such great beats, but he had a little bit of difficulty on capitalizing it. Honestly, though, again, a lot of respect to Don Toliver. It must be hard to you must be hard to have such pressure put on you, being called the heir to Travis Scott, and working with such big names. But honestly, I feel like Don Toliver kind of has to push through at this point. Don Toliver is becoming a bigger name. So. And lastly, the last song that I kind of want to mention is once again Drugs and Hella Melodies. Drugs and Hella Melodies is in my top 3 in this album, in my opinion. Caliuchis and Don Toliver had some great chemistry in this song, and Caliuchis' part was maybe a little bit corny, like the lyrics wise, but honestly, it wasn't anything too bad. The beat was beautiful, and the beat this time, I feel like this was like the perfect example of Don finally being able to capitalize on such great production. And I know I didn't mention all of the songs. In my opinion, if I didn't mention a song, it wasn't really anything too noticeable. Swinging on Westheimer, in my opinion, I actually couldn't finish that song. But I mean, also, guys, I would also just like to emphasize the fact that this is my opinion. This is not hard, concrete fact. Don't think that this song is bad just because I don't like it. Listen to it yourself. And yeah, let us know in the comments what you thought about Don Toliver's album, Life of a Don. And let us know in the comments which album I should review next. Young Thug just released. And I'm pretty sure Lana Del Rey is releasing soon. I don't actually listen to a lot of Lana Del Rey, but if you guys want me to, I can definitely release a review on that. So, okay. And now we're moving on to the closing part of this. So must listens on this album, in my opinion, songs that you should definitely listen to are Outer Space, You, Get Throwed, Flocky, and Escape. And rating wise, I'm gonna give this album a light 5 out of 10. Honestly, Don has some work to do, but he did showcase some potential. So I'm excited to see what he's gonna come up with in the future, and I really hope you enjoyed this album review.